Well, welcome, ladies, to a very special event today. We're going to talk about abundance and actually developing the abundant mindset. Now, first of all, though, I want to welcome all the newbies that have come in from Adelaide. It's very special that we've been able to welcome you into the sisterhood. Hope you get a lot from it. I know you will. And you've got a great ambassador there in Mary heading it up. And once we get back to real meetups, we'll be planning some for Adelaide as well. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting. So, again, welcome. Get your cuppa, kick back, enjoy. So I'm going to take you on a little journey today, and it's my journey and in some ways, but really with the lessons in there about what I've learned, and then of course what abundant mindset can bring. So just starting, we're going to go through the why, then we're going to introduce the difference between scarcity and the abundant mindset. Then we're going to go through 10 steps. And I'm going to talk about what I've found is the scarcity in property with a lot of the women. And that's because we've been going now since 2013. And some of the most common things that I hear that come up are actually coming from a scarcity mindset that is stopping people from getting there in and actually doing some of their own projects or joining in a joint venture or joining a syndicate. So we're going to deal with those issues. And then we're going to talk about how to set yourselves up for success or an abundance for life. So the why. So the mindset obviously is radically affecting all parts of our lives. And we've got, as seen here from the Chopra Center, a scarcity side and an abundant side. And these slides I'm happy to share with you so that you can look at it more in detail. But the point of view from a scarcity side is that, you know, you're playing a little bit of the victim. You know, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. It's just not in me. I haven't got the right people around me. I've never been taught. On the abundant side, you might be thinking more about, okay, it's a problem, but what's the solution? If I don't have the skills, how can I get the skills? Now that's just very general. And that's what we're going to be doing today, is at a very high level going through this. So when you learn to adopt an abundant mindset, which I've had to do, and you'll see why in a minute, it can drastically change everything for you, not just your outlook on life, but the way you learn, the way you want to grow, the way you're encouraged to just, I became a human sponge. So it can also help you through the tough times where you're going to need resilience. So in my case, you know, coming through the storm of the GFC, and then I had a car accident, and then I got swindled by 1.5 million. It was a perfect storm, and my resilience wasn't so tough then. I had, you know, like a meltdown, I think. And I've learned from that point that I will never let that happen again. So what did I have to change about me? What was it that was holding me back? Was this self-sabotaging? It also impacted on my immune system. So obviously I was weaker in myself. I was more susceptible to illness. And so for me, this is huge. And I hope for you, you get some insights here that make it really important for you as well. So here's where I started. That's not me there, the pretty one in the shorts. I'm the fat, chubby one in the billy cart. And that's my home behind there that I grew up in till I was 10. And it was a rundown old house. We didn't have any electricity. We had kerosene lanterns. We didn't have running hot water. We actually had to cart our water up from the creek, put it in a big copper boiler, and there was a wood stove underneath it. And that's how we'd heat our water for our weekly bath. We didn't have a fridge. It was a meat safe. We had the outdoor dunny, and you had to run underneath the old pine trees to get to it. Cast iron, you know, oven and stove top, and one of those big old irons that ironed the clothes, hand-me-down clothes at that. And so, you know, even our toys were like just made out of a stick and a bit of string, and that was our bow and arrow. So I came from a real lack background, and I think I struggled with that for a long time because I didn't know any different. But it was also, you know, that era of don't throw anything out, eat everything that's on your plate. If that bit of twine gets thrown out, we might need it one day, or there's a bit of barbed wire, you keep everything. So it was that lack that I grew up with. So I ate everything on my plate, and that wasn't necessarily the best thing for me because it was always mashed spuds and the sheep or the cows or the whatever we had on the farm at the time that we'd culled to create our food, but it was one of those things that embedded in me. And remembering too that in the first 7 years of your life, you actually embed a lot of the beliefs and the mindsets that you grow up with. So how does one get from there to here, where I am now, living in a really beautiful paradise world? I get to work for myself with some amazing people around me. I've got 4 beautiful daughters and 9 wonderful grandchildren. I'm surrounded by mentors and coaches and other people that are just friends that I have great times on the weekends riding motorbikes. I've started traveling the world late in life and seeing some awesome places. And once the coronavirus is done, I'll be back doing that. And I have plenty of hot running water that just comes straight out of the tap. And I count my blessings for that every day. So I want to now take us to this little bit of a journey and lessons. The abundant mindset, I believe, attracts abundance, and it doesn't come naturally to us. We're not actually born that way, unless perhaps we've got that silver spoon in our mouths when we are born. And maybe that's, you know, some of the problems like may have happened to James Packer or some of those that have got themselves into some trouble along the way because they haven't known the struggles and they haven't known some of those challenges, different challenges and struggles, I'm sure, but money probably never been a real problem for them. So that scarcity mindset of money, that wanting to make something of yourself, wanting to provide for your family, working hard, long hours, you know, it's where we get to, I guess, through the struggle side of it. But if we can change that mindset, and we'll talk more about this with the coaches that we have on board in a moment, but there's a fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. And I think that's where I had to get to, was crossing over to where I could feel that I just love growing. I love learning, and I needed to learn. I wanted to be a problem solver. And that's what it takes to be someone in property, particularly. You become a problem solver. So if you see a problem and you have this fixed view of it, that it's a problem, can't get around it. Desley, we're just talking about a block of land for you, you know, like this is where you've got to go, okay, that's the problem. How can I solve it? In most cases, you can solve it. There will be the odd time where you can't, but just going from that side of fixed mindset, can't do it, to how can I do it, getting curious about it. So let's go down through the steps. Firstly, coming aware of your thoughts, and that's a really big one. You've got to catch yourself. You've really got to be mindful, catch yourself. What's that little chatter going on? And remembering it's not the boss, it's just chattering away there. You can actually determine what it says, what it thinks. So if you can catch yourself, ask yourself the question, you know, is this coming from a fear base? Is this like my scarcity showing up? And then ask yourself, what about if I shift my mindset to the problem solving side of it? What if, and that's a good question, what if it is possible? What if I can achieve that? And this is where the catching your mind and what it's saying in the first instance is step 1. Step 2, practicing gratitude. This has been recognized everywhere now. You know, it's nothing that's a stranger to Deepak or to Dr. Wayne Dyer. You know, Oprah will speak about it. It's really how you get up or you start the day, I believe. For me, it's about saying at least 10 things I'm grateful for before I even get out of bed. And it could be just the running hot water, my children, their health. It could be a roof over my head. It could be that I had a great night's sleep, or it could be bigger things, you know, but we've got to remember, if we can start that day in a position of gratitude, it will so change the way we go forward. And I believe in attraction. And if we can get into that state of gratitude, we attract more to be grateful for. Next step, recognize the unlimited possibilities. So for me, I guess this is a little bit of a, you know, decluttering the mind and expanding awareness, but I will often imagine, and it's in meditation, I'll be just taking some quiet time in the day, and it's usually I'll have lunch and then I'll go and lock myself away, just away from the world, turn the computer off, turn, you know, everything off, and just have some quiet time. It might be 10 minutes, it might be half an hour, but closing your eyes and just imagining what it is you would like to see. And in my world, I see stars, thousands and billions of stars, and that's how many opportunities I know are out there for me. So for you, it might be something different, but it's having that intention of taking some quiet time and just calming yourself down and visualizing what it is that you would like to see. Meditation comes in lots of different ways. I can even, walk meditate. Dr. Joe Pazenza is another great mentor of mine. And when I say mentor, it's because I don't see him personally, but I jump on that YouTube and I'm listening to him all the time. I'm listening to lots of different ones because I think we need great people around us. So perhaps there's a couple of tips in there. Number 4, cultivate and share your passions and purpose. I believe that everyone's got gifts, and I think you probably agreed. We've all got talents, we've all got skills, but we have gifts, and we are really connected to those gifts when we find our passion and our purpose. So for me, I don't have to be doing this, right? I'm actually developing, that's my full-time job, but I'm passionate about helping other women come to a place where, I was struggling. If something like this had been around when I was going through property development right from an early age, bought my first at 17, a $4,000 block of land, and that's where my journey started. But there was no one out there helping, no one out there cheering me on. I was not with like-minded people. So for me to be able to share this with you now is my passion and it's my purpose. And you'll find that I'm going to introduce a couple of our coaches that are going to also share their passions for you, because if we didn't love what we were doing, we wouldn't be doing it, and we do. So for you, find your passion. Is property your passion? Then which part of property is your passion? Is it to do subdivisions, splitter blocks? I love duplexes. I love apartments. No, I just love the company and being with like-minded people. That's okay too. But what you need to then look at is, how do we serve? How do we take that passion and we share it? We share it with those who are interested in learning. Not everyone's going to want to hear it. Only the ones that want to, that's who you share it with. It could be your kids, could be your neighbours, could be the people within our group. If you've got a skill, let us know. We're happy to have you share that too. Self-mastery, that's building on your past experiences. Now, there's always going to be a goal or a vision, where you want to end up. And if you don't know where that is, our coaches are going to help you find that, because it's really important. Where do I want to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? You have to have something out in front of you. But to get there, what I find is the best way to do it is to actually build on your past. So for me, I build on my past and my past mistakes. And sometimes that's like, oh, not going to do that one again. And it's like, what could I have done better? So that is a part of self-mastery of experiences as well. But what you need to do is have that vision. And for me, I actually have a vision board, and it's, very goal orientated. It's actually a PowerPoint. I've got images, I've got words, and I've actually got music. So I made it into a video. And so each day I play that, I know where I'm headed, and I actually put that together or update it between Christmas and New Year. I have a quiet time then because I see my children in November, they're interstate. So between Christmas and New Year, I've already got my year planned out for the next year. I know where I'm going, and I've upgraded it for the next 2 or 3 years with that vision in mind. So it's small steps, and you can't jump to the end, but each time you achieve something, make note of it, do a little celebration dance, take time to congratulate yourself. Small actions get you to the end goal, and to be successful, you have to have that vision. It's really achievable, but I also found that I needed accountability, and so I need people around me who help keep me accountable as well. They just give you that little nudge when you need it, or check in, and it might be, a buddy that you're doing a journey with, or it might be you actually have a coach. Now for me, I've spent over the years, over $200,000 on education and coaching, and it's the most valuable investment I've made. So think about that, and we'll go to the next step. So 6 is blinder. It's a big one. I don't know how many times I used to pull my kids up on this one after I learned it, because I had to catch myself first. But be careful what you're saying. The words are your attraction. So if you say, I can never do that, you're right. If you say, I can do that, you're right. And we've heard this said time and time again, but bring it home, really sink that in, because, you know, my kids used to say, oh, they don't like me. Okay, how do you know that? Are you inside their head? No. Well, put it out there that they do like you and see what happens. And that's just a little small example for kids. But in the adult world, you know, if I go back to the abundance picture of myself in the background there, that's 109 apartments and 5 commercial underneath it, right? Over 9 blocks of land. Now, I had the chance to put my foot on that, and I could have easily said, oh my goodness, I can't do this. There is no way I can do this. But what I didn't do was that. I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And it just means I'm not doing it on my own. I'm going to bring people on that journey, and they're going to help me, and I'm going to find the best people to help me. And that's what's happened. I got determined. I changed, you know, made that my mindset that it was going to happen. And here we are, you know, we're only weeks away from getting the DA, and then 12 months away from starting construction. So catch yourself, change it. It can be possible. So I encourage you to really create that awareness around what you're communicating to yourself. Concentrate on growth. Step 7. This is my belief that if we're not growing, we're dying, because there's no in between. You know, like, to grow, you need to be educating yourself, you need to be learning, you need to be being inspired, feeling vital and, you know, a part of something bigger than yourself. And in doing that, you just continue to flourish and grow. And I hope that I'm still growing and learning till the age of 100 and something. Quality, not quantity. So, you know, with you, it's that mindset again. It's what stirs you, what excites you, what gives you the passion to want to learn more. And I hope it's property, because you're shown up here, and it's, why not? You know, it's a great vehicle for wealth creation if that's what your passion is. So becoming curious about it is really important. And Rebecca spoke about this, even with communication. Becoming curious is a really powerful tool, because, you know, working it out as a child would, how does that fit? How does that go? Is that something I could do? I remember saying to myself, there's a big game going on out there, and it's the A grade team up at the top, the wealthy. How do I get to learn from them? And that's what I ended up doing. I actually found how to learn from them. And that's how Rebecca and I, who I'll introduce you to if you don't know her in a moment, that's how we met in Sydney, doing the MBE course. And we were learning from some of Australia's best business brains, and we got to see how corporate advisory operated at that level, how capital raising operated at that level. And that's the skill sets that we bring to the table now, is because that curiosity and being prepared to put our hand in our pocket and pay for that learning got us to where we are today. So the other thing with curiosity is seek understanding. You know, rather than being quick to talk and verbal diarrhea it out, ask questions and you know, like, be curious and understanding where they're coming from, if it's something intention, or understanding where they're coming from is something you could learn from. It's really wonderful place to be. And I'll sit in a meeting, like, we'll have all the consultants around the table, you know, you can imagine there's about 12, all very skilled at what they do, and I might not say a word, or I might say 3 words, but I am listening and I am learning the whole time, because my goal is to have smarter people in the room than me. And I've learned a wealth of knowledge and skills from doing that. So there's step 7. Step 8 is similar. You know, be a beginner. Don't ever think you know it all. You're not a master at anything, really, because everything's changing all the time. And if we can adopt that attitude, it's one of the things that I think really help us go forward in, you know, for instance, I'm useless at IT and Facebook and all that sort of stuff. It's not my skill set, but I'm learning. Not that I need to be doing it, but I'm learning. So Zoom was another one I had to learn. And of course, having the right people around supporting. So decide to learn something new, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you know, like, I'm ahead of my kids in some of the stuff I know, and it's like, oh, Mum, you're pretty cool. Yeah, I do know some of these technology things. Yeah, I got that down pat. Yeah. So just be open to that learning. Number 9, I think this too is really important when you've got to focus on what is good, and what's going right, because there's nothing worse than being around someone who'll be going whinge, 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 complain, complain, complain. And that is naturally how we're wired, but we don't have to stay there. You know, the victim mentality isn't going to help anybody. It just doesn't. So you've got to either shift your own if you're in that situation where you're playing the victim and everything's a problem, because the only way to get into abundance is to shift that. You can't attract abundance if you're sitting in a mindset of, oh, woe is me, poor me. So that also applies to the people that are around you. You need to make sure that you don't spend too much time. They can still be friends, they can still be family, yeah, but you don't have to spend a lot of time with them, because if that's impacting on your well-being as far as abundance goes, it's not the right thing for you to be in that environment. So property development is totally about solving problems. So if you can develop a problem-solving orientated focus, you're going to go a long way in this industry. And number 10 is creating abundance affirmations. Now, as I said to you, I've already, spoken a little bit about this. I've created my video that came from doing it I started out first with a long time ago with just a sheet of paper or cardboard, putting photos up, putting words across it, whatever. It's not as silly as it sounds. If you're walking past it every day, by osmosis, you are taking it in. You are absorbing that. And then one day you're going to wake up and go, oh my goodness, I achieved that. I remember for my 50th birthday, I wanted to hire 2 luxury catamarans, one for my children, one for my friends, the adults, and I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. But I put it on my goals board, and bit by bit it all just came together. And it was the most amazing trip as we sailed around the Whitsundays. And, it was one of those ones to treasure forever, a beautiful treasured memory. And since then I've been doing and paying for those trips for family and friends to mark a special occasion. Sometimes I've got no idea how I'm going to pay for it. Other times it's like, it'll just happen. I'll get there. And it does. So those goals boards and those, where it's a video, whether it's a slideshow, whether it's saying your affirmations as you walk along the beach. I do recordings as well. My voice recorded all the different affirmations, and they can be said in lots of different ways. They can be said as a prayer. They can be said as just words, pluck something off Dr. Wayne Dyer or take it off Oprah, or, she's been doing some great stuff of late too. So just get that into your head. And you're traveling in the car, well, why not have that playing for yourself as well? The more we can get it in, and just on the quiet, I have stuff running all night as well. So my subconscious is taking in this abundance all day, all night, other than when I'm in meetings or focusing on the concentrated conversations I'm having. But I love it, and it's proving itself. So there are 10 steps. Now, in property, what I've found is the scarcity in the mindset is, these are a lot of things I've heard everyone say. You won't take the time to do it, or you have no accountability to anyone, so you can't hold yourself responsible. Or another one, you don't give yourself permission, like take time for you. I can't. I've got the kids doing this. I've got the school run there. I've got basketball there. I've got the husband wants this, da da da. Hey, you've got to take time for you. You just have to. And I think, where we're headed with this is to help you guys by introducing you to some coaches, because that is really important. They actually give you permission. You have permission to focus on you. What are your needs? Also, this group, this community, it's here to support like-minded people. I don't know how many times I hear people say, oh, I was at the barbecue and I started talking about property. And of course, everyone has a view on it. Everyone has their opinion about where the property market's going. Well, you've got to surround yourself with the right people and the right advice. And next week's meetup actually is pretty huge. We've got Mel Cayley coming along and talking about that, and his military background has proven to skill him up so that he doesn't look at the past. He's actually looking at the future, and he's got facts that he evaluates, and then he makes his prediction for where we're headed. And it's pretty exciting post coronavirus. People lack confidence, and I get that. You know, they're procrastinating, or they're just scared to take their first step, or they're afraid of making mistakes, or they get caught up just being busy. So this again is where we're headed. What I found is that because everyone's struggling in these areas, we're going to introduce more coaches. So today we've got Rebecca Ramsey and Mary Pascal coming on for us today, and just to introduce them a little bit so that you can understand too, from their perspective, their keenness to help. I don't want you thinking that you're on your own, because you're not, and you shouldn't be. I've tried the sole operator thing, and let me tell you, you come crashing down if you've got no one around you supporting you. I've been there. So what I want to do for you ladies is what I would have liked to have had around me at the time, but it wasn't there. I want you to feel supported in whatever way it is. And there's no strings attached with it. It's just, if you need help, it's here. If you don't, that's fine. But let's all enjoy the journey together and be part of the group. So let me introduce Rebecca, who is actually a business coach, an international business coach and strategist. But I've asked her to cross the line over to the life coach, which she's very good at doing too. So Rebecca, I'd just like to introduce you, and perhaps you can tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, thank you. Lovely to see everybody online today. Yes, so as Lorna said, we met, I think, oh gosh, we keep forgetting how long ago it was. I think we're up to about 9 years ago now, Lorna.
Yep.
As we were both investing in ourselves and our education and in the finance kind of world. And I've been coaching for about 13 years and haven't been a business owner, and well, property investment isn't my key area. I do have a personal interest, but I work with business owners, and the majority of that work is about them, the person, and then how that reflects on the businesses that they are involved in. So my sweet spot, I suppose, is definitely around, you know, making clear where there is confusion, getting clarity on things, really providing perspective, a fresh look at things, and helping people get very clear on who they are to start with, so that then they can focus on their strategy and crisis management, because those are the key areas that you must, you know, be focused on if you want to be successful. And whatever you do is being able to manage strategy, people, including yourself, and then crisis. What do you do when the proverbial hits the fan? So those are the kind of areas that we focus on as well. Yeah.
So for those of you who didn't see our last 5 sessions, which are recorded and they're on public access, we went through the steps to help you become the person you need to be a property developer. And Becca's was very much a part of bringing all that together and helping us work through that. And I know the ladies who have been a part of that have really enjoyed it and grown some amazing skill sets and strength from that. So go back and have a look at it. It's great value. And yeah, Rebecca, you do some coaching as well, so we can talk a little bit more about that. And we'll just introduce Mary now. So Mary, we'll welcome you on board. As soon as Becca flicks the lid. You there, Mary? Anyway, Mary, until she comes on board, is based in Adelaide now, and was one of our WOW property women here on the Sunshine Coast, in Brisbane, and has been a big part of, you know, she's invested into a couple of our projects as one of the WOW property women. You get that opportunity if you'd like to be an investor or armchair investor. But in her own right, she's been coaching, and particularly in the area of abundance, people, women and men, who are interested in actually developing the skills of property along with developing an abundant mindset. So are you there now, Mary?
Yeah, I am. Can you see me? Yeah, fantastic.
Beautiful.
It's actually perfect timing, because I've actually set up a company, my business, which is called Abundico, and my theme is all about living abundantly. So so today's topic is just, you know, really the forefront of my mind, and particularly how I started my professional property development journey, and like you, Lorna, the power of a vision board. I mean, I took the time to dare to dream and created my vision, and you know, that sort of daily positive, you know, clarity around what I wanted to achieve actually made the decision to to leave the corporate life and jump into property development, made it very, very easy. I downloaded it on my screensaver.
Yes.
And every day, you know, as I took calls and, you know, used my phone all the time. How many times do we use our phone? It was constantly reinforcing. So one of the things I found that along my journey, and then just meeting other women wanting to, you know, invest in property or become like quit their day job and become a property developer was things around mindset and you know, their habits and their values. So I started doing a little bit of research around, you know, well, what is it that, you know, that people who are successful, I mean, you know, there's a lot of research saying that there's not many people who are successful in property, or there's not many people that have got more than one property. And there is a mindset, there are habits. And so I also delved into, again, part of my own personal development is the whole concept of neuroscience, that the brain is quite malleable and you can actually retrain your brain. So I particularly like the growth and the fixed mindset model. I think that's really interesting. And then just I suppose a couple of points there is, you know, how we think of the world and how we react is really very important. Like, for example, if we look at in property, you know, there are going to be challenges. You know, there are going to be mistakes that happen, and what kind of mindset you bring to the situation can then you know, obviously affect the results, you know, that you achieve. So you know, having a mindset where you maybe ignore mistakes, bury them, you know, leave them until they fester, you know, it's obviously going to give you good results. But, you know, understanding that, okay, things happen, you know, and then developing a, you know, a problem solving, you know, approach. Okay, well, yes, I've got to deal with that. How can I make the best out of this situation is really important. I like what you said, Lorna, about, you know, gratitude, but I think with an abundant mindset, there's another element, which is about generosity. And I can see, obviously, you're doing that in terms of bringing this group together. And I think that's a really important attribute, that, you know, when you're generous, you know, a lot comes back to you. So I think, you know, building this community, and that's why I'm part of it, that you know, I got so much value out of that experience I had in Brisbane with you and the group of wonderful ladies. And I was really, you know, missing that connection. So, you know, when we had the conversation recently to start a chapter in Adelaide, you know, it was just, I mean, I was just jumping for joy, because I just felt richer for the concept, and now being part of it, you know, I just feel that's bringing more abundance into my life, but also it gives me a chance to pay back and give back, and so that I feel, you know, I'm just more surrounded by generosity, and that's all about abundance.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mary. That's really good. Thank you for sharing that. And we really are happy to have you heading up the Adelaide chapter, and really welcome again, in case the ladies got on late because I got the timelines wrong. Welcome the Adelaide ladies again. It's, you know, something that we're very proud to be able to share with you. We call it sort of a sisterhood, yeah, but it's women looking after women, because it's you know, we are in an environment that's a little bit tough at times, especially in a male-dominated world. And I know, because my background's in architecture, and I went through studying with being the only woman, and so I know what sort of challenges there are in that. So we want to make it a place that's vital and vibrant and, you know, exciting. And we know when we're having the real meetups where we're in person, like, we all get a buzz out of it. We're so excited, and we do that without the wine even, like, you know.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to Adelaide being able to have their first live meetup, hopefully in a month or two. But next Thursday, we have got an online meetup, and our guest speaker is a pretty amazing guy. And the ones that have seen him, Mel Cayley, they are blown away with his intelligence and the way his analytical mind works. And as you can see, we're not anti-men. We invite men. I've got men all around me in my team, and we appreciate them. So take the opportunity next Thursday night at 6 o'clock. That's Queensland time, 6 o'clock. So that means 5:30 Adelaide time. So yeah, we're going to have him on board and present what's happening here on the Sunshine Coast, and why it's one of the hottest properties in Australia at the moment. And what I'd like to say, though, in closing, is that I really thank Rebecca and Mary, and we'll introduce you to our other coaches next month. Please join us again next Friday. It's always pretty exciting topics, and we'll be traveling along this journey of abundance for a few more weeks. So ladies, it was great to see you virtually, great to be with you. And, you know, if there's any questions, can you put them into our Facebook group? Because I'd love to have more interaction there where we can all add some value to each other. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, it is a closed group, but you can just apply to join and I'll let you in. You just need to answer a couple of questions so that we can stay in touch. And let's get that really proactive Facebook group happening so we can all support each other. Thanks, ladies, so much for joining us. Cheers for now.